All right, now let's speak to Arthur GoldStuck, the head of Worldwide Worx, and we're looking at the internet. I mean, the internet partly fueling some of the panic, but also providing information. Either way, he says, as head of Worldwide Worx, it's a watershed moment for the internet. Thank you for being with us, Arthur.
Thank you, Francis.
So I mean, I was just thinking, imagine there wasn't the internet right now. People are being sent home. A lot of information has to be sought online. A lot of meetings taking place. Imagine we didn't have the internet right now.
For sure. The internet is serving at least four major purposes. The one is transmitting information about the virus and its spread, and also spreading education very fast on how to deal with it. But a second, more negative role that it's playing, of course, is spreading fear, panic, hoaxes, and the like. The more people see pictures of other people engaging in panic buying, the more they're going to panic buy. So that's the negative. But the real positives of the internet are that it's going to allow people to remain in touch and informed, even if they have to stay at home. And mostly for businesses and schools, it's going to allow them to carry on with business. I won't say business as usual, but certainly businesses can use the tools of the internet, and schools and universities are already using those tools around the world to keep going.
Well, you say there's going to be a digitalization boom. What is that?
Everyone's been talking about digital transformation for the last 5 years. It's become a cliche, and a lot of people have feared that it's just the tech companies trying to sell them more tech. But this just shows what they're really talking about. It's the ability to have all your processes, all your communication in an integrated digital environment. In other words, where everything happens in a kind of seamless way, that you don't have to figure out what to do next. And what that means is that when a crisis like this hits, you're ready to immediately switch over to a digital way of working. So it doesn't really matter where in the world you are or what gadget or tool you're using. If it has a screen and it has a keyboard and is connected to the internet, you can connect to your workplace in effect.
Although, I mean, so we're bringing up some of the sites where you can get information online in South Africa, but how many South African schools, companies are ready to just go online like that?
Well, this is the problem, and this is the reason that people have been shouting for digital transformation for a few years, government as well as businesses, schools and the like. It's been necessary, it's been a priority for years, but it's been ignored by most businesses. Because
you needed this to show you why you needed it.
Exactly. This is why I say that this is a watershed in the history of the internet, because it now forces organizations to move into a digital environment. And when we come out on the other side, it will be a very different world, and it will be a world in which these organizations will all have learned the value and the benefit of digital process, digitalizing all their activities. And once we're in that world, it'll be very hard to go back to where we were.
I think that's already happening. So schools starting to email lectures or classes, they're going to have to learn very quickly. Is there a big learning curve going on?
There's a massive learning curve. Some schools are ready. Some schools have been ready for this for a while. But what we're seeing with most schools is they're taking advantage of school closure this Wednesday through to the middle of April to say, well, we're going to treat this as school holidays. And in a way, they're almost staving off the inevitable. Instead, they should be saying, we're going to use these holidays to test online systems, to introduce online systems. So a lot of schools can't. A lot of children are not in a position where they can learn from home. But if you take the private school environment, very few have actually been ready for this, and they, of all schools, should be. And they could then provide a facilitating role for those schools who don't have the means.
But then how sad for many South Africans that don't have access to high-speed fiber, for example, to do things online at home. Those school kids sort of left behind. At least data costs are coming down. Is that a good thing that that's happening now?
Yes, but it also highlights the extent to which government has let down the country over the past decade by holding back the growth of online access, by not licensing high-speed broadband, by not pushing down the price of data. Government has created a situation where we're not ready for this kind of crisis. We could have been preparing for the past 10 years for it, and we would have had a very different society today.
And where the haves and have-nots, that divide even bigger now, because some will be educated online, some won't.
Exactly. So what I do believe is going to have to happen is that all educational information is going to have to be zero rated. We already saw with Vodacom's deal with the monopoly, the Competition Commission, that certain educational sites and resources would not cost any, you wouldn't have to pay for the data. They need to do that now with all schools' information, all schools' websites, and there needs to be a concerted program of pushing educational information and curriculum material to students through smartphones.
Finally, what are the trends for the future? So I know you can Skype call, but you really want people in a business environment now to get together virtually, not physically. What's out there? What sort of technology is out there?
You're going to see quite a few big trends. The one is cloud computing. So far more will be done via the cloud than had been anticipated. And quite coincidentally, we're seeing the arrival of the big cloud data centers in South Africa at the moment. Microsoft arrived last year. Amazon Web Services is arriving very shortly, and a few others as well. Along with that, you're going to see video conferencing and webinars, online seminars, replacing presentations, panel discussions, and the like. Companies like Citrix, which does workplace tools and also remote working tools, are going to thrive. Amazon Web Services, which has their online workspace tool, is going to thrive as well. Microsoft have a product called Teams, and that is going to be one of the defaults for collaboration and also presenting to small audiences in the coming years.
All right, thank you so much. Sure. So, watershed moment, a lot of change happening very quickly. That was Arthur GoldStuck, head of Worldwide Worx. Now, the